Hello, welcome back. In this lesson, we will discuss about WebDriver. WebDriver and WebElement are the most important APIs in Selenium. In this current lesson, we will focus on WebDriver. WebDriver represents the browser programmatically. Let us say if you want to interact with Chrome browser, you can instantiate Chrome driver using WebDriver, which will represent the Chrome browser itself. We will also look at the API of WebDriver. What are the various actions we can take using WebDriver API? So, Selenium WebDriver makes direct calls to the browser using each browser's native support for automation. How these direct calls are made and the features they support depend on the browser you are using, which means WebDriver will make these calls to the browser. Let us say I'm using Chrome browser and I will use a WebDriver for Chrome so that any kind of test script I write, like browser.open, browser.getURL, browser.getTitle, browser.getPageSource. I'm just giving you some examples. Any kind of interaction you want to do with the browser, the Chrome browser, that can be done using WebDriver interface. So if WebDriver is an interface, that interface is implemented into a class whichever browser you want to interact with. If it is Chrome, you will be using Chrome driver. If it is Firefox, you will be using Firefox, and Internet Explorer, Safari, and few other drivers are available with Selenium. Keep in mind one important thing, which is native support for automation. Native support. What does that mean is Selenium and the browser developer, if it is Chrome, Google, if it is Internet Explorer, Microsoft, they have an understanding how the drivers interact with the browsers. So natively they get support. It is not externally getting support. Natively, that means they expose the API to the Selenium WebDriver so that you won't run into issues. In the first lesson, we have discussed about W3C specification for WebDriver. You remember that? W3 specification for WebDriver means that all of these browser manufacturers should support Selenium WebDriver, which is the biggest win for Selenium, because all of these browser manufacturers support Selenium, then there will be less issues interacting with their browsers. Previously, it is not the case. They don't have native support. So Selenium has to deal with ever-changing browser features. Whenever something changes in the browser DOM or how it functions, Selenium used to break. If the native support is available, whenever something changes, those APIs are exposed to Selenium, then Selenium updates the calls. How important the native support is. So in here, we can see the Selenium WebDriver can instantiate different types of WebDrivers, which can be of type Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Safari, and Opera browser. Different kinds of browsers. So simply in this case, what you will be doing is you will be writing code something like WebDriver and give it a variable name driver equals new Firefox driver. So the browser that you want to interact is Firefox driver. This is how you will instantiate the driver. And again, if it is going to be a Chrome browser, then you will be using Chrome driver. So that means we have created a driver object which is of type Chrome. So whatever interactions you want to do on the Chrome browser, you can simply do driver.get page title. We will look at the API in a little bit and explore the different kinds of methods you can call on the driver. So at a given time, you can assign whatever type of browser you want to interact with. Now let us take a look at the APIs available for WebDriver. You can simply Google Java Selenium API, and most likely this first result here, and now do Control F and search for WebDriver, and look out for in this left hand pane here, and we can do enter key and you can get to the WebDriver interface here. WebDriver interface. So this WebDriver interface is implemented by, like I said, Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Opera browser, Safari driver. All of these drivers are implemented classes of WebDriver interface. So like we have seen on the blackboard, we can use any kind of browser you want by instantiating that driver. Here we have used Firefox, or if you want to use Chrome, you can use as a Chrome driver, but you should make a decision which browser you're going to use in your application testing. Now let us take a look at the available methods on this WebDriver. So the WebDriver, one more time, it represents the browser. Keep this in mind. A WebDriver interface represents the browser. So whenever we say WebDriver, it is basically representing a browser. A browser should come into your mind. So what you can do on a browser, you can close a browser, right? And you can find element on a browser, like use a text field, radio button, checkboxes, you can find them, right? Or find elements, plural, which is like multiple checkboxes are there, you can find them. And you can load a web page in the current browser window, like you can get to an URL, like access a website. So if you do driver.get http://www.google.com, the WebDriver will fire up the browser, and get URL will get you the URL. We will see most of these methods programmatically, just to give you an idea what are the various possibilities using the WebDriver interface. You can get the title, page title, whatever the title of that page, and you can do a navigate, quick, and switch to. These are the various options. Go through this API documentation and read through the description it has provided. That gives you a good understanding. But primarily WebDriver we will be using a lot is get, so that you can get to your application and find element and find elements, and browser.close and quit. There will be an interview question. What is the difference between close and a quit? So a close would be like closing the current window of the browser, whereas quit is like closing the browser and all of the associated windows. Let us say you're working on an application that has a pop-up window, right? So you are navigating to the pop-up window and you want to close only the pop-up window, not the main window. Then you will use close. If you want to close everything associated with that browser instance, then you will be using quit. So it completely closes the main window and also any associated pop-up windows. We will conclude this lesson here and start on using WebDriver in the next lesson. Thank you.